because Warren Buffett has lived such a long life, he has had the ability not only to gain wealth through excellent investment decisions, but also something that we can all do through patience. Hey folks, this is Colin Richards, president and founder of Warren Richards, and once again, I'm excited to be with you today on this episode of the Warren Richards Show. And in the next couple of sequences, we're going to be talking about one of the most important topics related to finance, which is getting wealthy and staying wealthy. Now, by wealthy, we may not always mean being the person with the most money, as we're going to discuss today, but we're talking about having the financial freedom to enjoy the people that you love, to do the things that you love. And it really begins with making sure that money serves the goal of providing you that financial freedom. You see, without the ability to have money that doesn't require you to go to work every single day, or that doesn't enslave you to that work, I should say, then you cannot have true financial independence. So in this particular segment, I'm going to be talking about how, first of all, you get wealthy. And the key word here is the word patience, right? Patience is a virtue. We know this from the Bible. We know this from our experience, that patience is something we all need. Of course, we don't want to ask for patience because sometimes that means we got to go through trials and difficulties, right? But it really is a virtue that we need. Recently, one of the greatest investors of all time, perhaps the greatest, Warren Buffett, turned 94 years old. Really quite an achievement in life. And one would think that Warren Buffett would discuss some of the reasons he obtained such a great age had to do with his eating healthy and his exercise. Those who have studied up a little bit on this great elderly investor know that that's really not it. He has said of himself, "I eat like a 6-year-old." He starts his day with an Egg McMuffin or a sausage, egg, and cheese biscuit. He'll drink 5 Cokes a day. He loves his ice cream sundaes. He really did not turn this old because of his eating habits. He did not really get to this age because of his exercise and lifestyle choices. Now, he does comment that he actually did sleep well. He always tries to get 8 hours of sleep, and we know that's vital for cognitive function and longevity. But the other interesting thing to note about this is over his lifetime, he has become one of the wealthiest, not only the greatest, but one of the wealthiest investors of all time. As a matter of fact, a recent article came out that said Berkshire Hathaway, upon which he sits as chairman, has actually hit $1 trillion in market capitalization, a major milestone, larger than most countries on the earth. This organization that he built from just a handful of assets when he was very young. It's interesting, though. We think of Warren's success having to do with his lifespan. And that's true. Because Warren Buffett has lived such a long life, he has had the ability not only to gain wealth through excellent investment decisions, but also something that we can all do through patience. Would it surprise you to know that of Warren Buffett's wealth, 90% of it was obtained after he turned age 65. That's actually when most people are getting off of the wagon as far as work and their focus of their life. 90% of his wealth achieved after that. What if Warren Buffett had decided to just retire and live on what he had? We probably would have never really known him. But over the last 30 years, Warren Buffett has achieved 90% of his wealth. So patience is the key. This is often challenging because people that I talk to every single day, just like you, are concerned about things going on in the world that could mess up their retirement, their financial independence, and it can bring a level of anxiety and impatience to the conversation. One of my jobs as your financial advisor, one of the jobs of my team as your financial advisors, is to help you develop a long-term view, to think in terms of years and decades, not in terms of months and quarters. Unfortunately, Wall Street's media frenzy tends to push people to constantly think in terms of very short-term goals. And if you set short-term financial goals as your priority, it doesn't mean it's wrong to have short-term goals, but as a priority, either by yourself or in your relationship with us, you're going to be frustrated because at Lord & Richards, we're going to counsel you to use time to your advantage, not to make sudden irrational moves based on market impulse. Warren Buffett has a couple of other great attributes in his life besides patience that I think fit well under that. He is famously still living in the same house in Omaha that he's lived in for decades, and it's not that big of a house. And he famously never even got himself some of the luxury travel accessories that are known for billionaires like yachts and jets. Famously never did that. Finally, he did so, he said, out of necessity, and he felt he could give himself a luxury. Those of you who follow my show know that we put luxuries at the end of the list, right? And focus on things at the beginning off of our 5-fingered plan, things like giving, saving, then focusing on your personal expenses, then more giving, then those luxuries. Well, by putting those luxuries later in the list, delayed gratification, you have the opportunity to build wealth by living below your means and saving. Become a voracious saver. It doesn't mean you have to be cheap. On the other hand, many of you have done well, and I want to encourage you to use that to buy time, to buy financial freedom, so that you can do what you want with the people that you love. But great investors are patient. Warren Buffett, in talking about developing a portfolio, and this is going to be important as you talk with us, talked about the need to focus on buying great companies at acceptable prices, not focusing on buying acceptable companies at great prices. Some of you have gotten caught up maybe over the years and made some mistakes by getting caught in frenzies around things like NVIDIA and so forth, Bitcoin. I can't tell you how many people asked me if we were going to put Bitcoin in their portfolio. I said, absolutely not. These are fad investments where people are bandwagoning. What we want to do is be patient. Develop a portfolio of great companies that over the long haul are going to do well, and then watch as a percentage of those do really well. And if you're patient, not selling too fast, not buying too fast, but being patient, you're going to see a tremendous return over the long haul. Take one stock market index, for example, the Russell 3000. Over a period of 1980 to 2014, that's 34 years, 70% of those 3,000 companies lost value. They actually lost market capitalization. They were duds. 7% actually outperformed and did really well, and more than outperformed, so that the whole index as a whole did well. That's what I'm talking about by patience. Warren Buffett told his shareholders he's owned 400 to 500 stocks in his life and made most of his money on 10. But how do you know which 10 those are going to be? You need to develop a long-term point of view. Here's another way to look at it. I know Napoleon isn't a role model for personal living, but he was a great strategist, and he defined a military genius as the man who can do the average thing when all those around him are going crazy. So first step to getting wealthy is patience. In our future segments, we're going to talk about how to stay wealthy and how to have true fulfillment with that wealth. But in the meantime, I would love for you to connect with my team and have a great conversation about how you can achieve financial independence without worry. It just starts with a simple phone call.